Most people have a fundamental misunderstanding of education. They treat it like it ends with a diploma, as if graduating means they've finished learning. But then, years later, they feel stuck, irrelevant, and behind. Why? Because they stopped evolving. Real education starts where formal education ends. Once the structure disappears, no teachers, no deadlines, no grades. That's when the real test begins. It's in that space where hunger is revealed. The people who rise to the top, the ones with influence, success, and vision, aren't waiting to be taught. They teach themselves. They relentlessly pursue knowledge, because they understand their growth depends on it. Self-education isn't a hobby. It's survival. It's not about casually browsing books. It's war. A daily battle against ignorance, laziness, and mediocrity. And mediocrity doesn't sit idle, it spreads the moment you stop learning. Today, you have access to nearly all of humanity's knowledge. You can learn anything: languages, finance, philosophy, neuroscience, and weaponize that knowledge to become intellectually unstoppable. But instead, most people drift. They scroll. They let algorithms choose what fills their minds. Slowly, they lose their edge and don't even notice. And then they blame society, their past, or bad luck, when the truth is, no one is coming to save them from the education they chose not to pursue. The elite aren't just wealthy, they're educated. They think strategically, act with foresight, and make better decisions because they've armed themselves with better knowledge. They weren't born with it. They made the decision every single day to grow until they became undeniable. When you commit to learning, your presence changes. You walk with confidence. You speak with clarity. You're not easily fooled or manipulated. You gain depth, and that comes from understanding, which only comes through constant learning. It's not about reading 100 books a year. It's about absorbing one and letting it reshape how you see the world. It's about learning deeply, thinking critically, and humbling yourself with the awareness of how much more there is to know. The world is desperate for real leaders, not just loud voices. And the path to leadership is often lonely, quiet, and slow, but it compounds. 10 years from now, it's the one who studied in silence that others look up to. This is about more than learning. This is about mindset. Most people live in a prison built by their own limiting beliefs. They repeat silent scripts. I can't. I'm not good enough. But who gave them those thoughts? A fearful parent? A teacher who gave up? A culture that dismissed them? Those walls people build to feel safe only make them small. And the only thing keeping most people stuck is themselves. But here's the truth. Your mindset is either your greatest tool or your worst enemy. It shapes how you interpret setbacks, criticism, and delays. One person sees them as proof they'll never win. Another sees them as training. That's the power of perspective. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's a war against your comfort zone. It takes honesty, discipline, and a refusal to keep blaming others. Once you accept that, you gain real power. The ability to shape your life deliberately. Everything changes when you prepare. The world doesn't wait. It doesn't pause for your readiness. You either stay ahead or fall behind. Most people miss opportunity not because it wasn't meant for them, but because they weren't ready for it. Success comes from unseen preparation. Reading when others scroll, practicing when no one watches, reflecting while others rant. It's not luck, it's foresight, anticipation, discipline. Storms come whether you're prepared or not. You don't rise to the occasion, you fall back on your training. So ask yourself honestly, are you truly preparing for the life you say you want? Or are you just hoping it works out? The beautiful part? If you do the work, if you learn, sharpen, reflect, grow, you won't just keep up. You'll lead, you'll shape outcomes. The world opens doors for those who prepare in silence. So read, study, think, prepare. Because in a noisy, distracted world, a sharp and disciplined mind is the most dangerous weapon you can possess. Your name can travel further than your footsteps. Not because you advertise it, but because your excellence echoes louder than self-promotion ever could. So stop hesitating. Life won't knock twice. The right time is always now. Yes, the pressure is real, but so is your potential. The world doesn't pause for anyone, especially not for the unprepared. But if you meet it with clarity, readiness, and purpose, it won't need to pause, it will respond. Inspiration is easy to find, a quote, a video, a speech. Anyone can be moved for a moment. But what separates those who make progress from those who don't is discipline, the quiet, repetitive decision to keep showing up, especially when the motivation fades. Our culture glorifies breakthroughs, viral moments, and instant success. But real change? That comes from what you do after the inspiration fades. It's about taking knowledge and turning it into consistent action. We don't suffer from a lack of information. We're drowning in it. What most people lack is the commitment to stick with something long enough to see it through. They want mastery without monotony, results without repetition. But real power, real transformation, comes from discipline, from structure, from showing up daily, not because it's exciting, but because your future is worth the inconvenience of consistency. Knowledge without action becomes clutter. You can learn something life-changing today and forget it tomorrow if you don't integrate it. Growth requires action, reflection, failure, and adjustment, repeated over time until the truth becomes part of who you are. And that takes time, grit, and repetition that often goes unnoticed and uncelebrated. Discipline isn't glamorous. No one applauds you for reading instead of scrolling, for working instead of quitting. But discipline doesn't need applause. It's internal. It's rooted in purpose. It's the quiet force that builds character when no one's watching. Legacy isn't built in the spotlight. It's forged in obscurity, not by talent or charm, but by consistency and discipline. People don't remember those who almost made it. They remember the ones who endured, refined, and kept going when others quit. That kind of rare consistency creates power. So ask yourself, will you be remembered as someone who dabbled in potential, or someone who disciplined it into legacy? You don't need massive leaps, just small steps, done well, done daily. One page, one action, one focused moment. That quiet effort compounds in ways that shock the world, not because it happened overnight, but because it happened when no one was looking. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you could be. Every time you choose structure over comfort, growth over ease, you're not just learning, you're building something real, a body of work, a legacy that speaks long after you're gone. Don't just collect knowledge, apply it, train it, channel it, repeat it, because in a world obsessed with speed and attention, there's unmatched strength in someone who quietly, relentlessly chooses discipline. We've been told, knowledge is power, but it's not. Applied knowledge is power. You can have endless insight, but if you don't do anything with it, it's wasted. Real transformation begins when knowledge meets purpose, when you stop learning to consume and start learning to build. And purpose doesn't have to be grand. Sometimes it's just about becoming better than you were yesterday. Providing, leading, staying steady when no one sees it. When your learning aligns with your mission, even a humble one, you gain clarity. You become less distracted. You start building. That's what we need. People who don't just know, but act. Who move from survival to significance. Who learn, apply, fail forward, and try again, because that's where real power lives. There's a principle built into life. Preparation precedes elevation. You don't just stumble into greatness. You become someone who can carry it. Breakthrough isn't about luck, it's about readiness. And if the best version of you doesn't exist yet, the delay isn't denial, it's grace. It's giving you time to grow. Would you hand your most valuable treasure to someone untrained and careless? Of course not. Life won't either. It doesn't hand you destiny until you can handle the weight of it. You want success? Build character. Want abundance? Learn to manage what you have. Want leadership? Master the basics in silence. The spotlight doesn't make you, it exposes you. And you can't fake readiness. You only rise when you've done the work that no one sees. So remember, your time is coming. The effort you're putting in matters, even if it feels invisible. Because preparation never goes to waste. In the right season, your effort and opportunity will align, and you'll rise. Not by luck, but by design. And when you rise, you'll lift others with you. Every day you face a choice, to rise or retreat, to prepare or procrastinate. Those quiet decisions build your future. This world moves fast. It doesn't wait for hesitation. If you want to rise above average, educate yourself relentlessly. Be disciplined in thought, unshakable in mindset, and purposeful in action, not just for success, but to become someone worthy of it. Because in the end, it's not talent or luck that defines you, it's preparation. discipline, and purpose-driven action. That's what turns effort into legacy. So stop waiting. Start building. Not for applause, but for alignment. For the future that's waiting for you to be ready.